She learned love from a household that confused it with control. So every tender moment came with something to patrol. The exits, she was always mapping out the exits before she'd even settle. Self-protection is a reflex when the blueprint that you're given is a wound dressed up as wisdom. Every good man feels like danger, that's the algebra of the system. I learned love from a father who expressed it through provision, who never said the words but showed up, that's his whole decision. So I speak in acts of service while she needs the spoken word. We're both fluent in the language that the other hasn't heard. Two people raised in different dialects of the same need, standing at the border of each other, trying to read the signs. And this is not a tragedy, this is the work, the daily translation of the love beneath the hurt.
Rose water and gunpowder,
that's the mixture
that we are. Soft enough to heal each other,
hard enough to bear the scar.
I won't romanticize the damage,
but I won't pretend it's gone.
We are everything that made us,
and we're still holding on. The argument at midnight wasn't about the dishes, it was about the time before the catalog of wishes that never got articulated, that got stored and calcified into a posture of defense that looks like cold but isn't. Pride is fear, dressed up convincingly, wearing anger's overcoat. I know because I wear it too. I know the tightness in the throat before the word that ends the evening, before the door that closes. The silence after is the loudest, that's where all the damage doses. We learn to fight from people who were fighting for their lives, so everything feels mortal, every disagreement knives. But we are not our parents, and this kitchen is not that kitchen. I ain't choosing something different, even when the nerve is twitching. She left a note once, not goodbye, just I need Tuesday, one day to be a person, not a partner. I understood the pathway of that need because I have it too. The self before the union, the individual inside the love, the necessary separation that makes the coming back mean something, that makes the choice apparent. Every morning that you choose the person is the whole experiment of love, not the beginning rush, not the cinematic landing, but the Thursday of it. Ordinary, demanding. The rose water is the softness, we protecting one another. The gunpowder is the history, we carry it, we're tougher for the carrying. I love her not despite the complicated, but because of it. Because the real thing is the weight of showing up with all your damage and your beauty intertwining, and finding someone patient enough, broken enough to keep on trying. This is not a love song in the easy sense of the expression. It's a document of two people learning love as a profession.
rose water and gunpowder,
that's the mixture
that we are. Soft enough to heal each other,
hard enough to bear the scar.
rose water, rose water, rose water, rose water and gunpowder,
that's the mixture
that we are. Soft enough to heal each other,
hard enough to bear the scar.
Nobody sees is the one I wake up in. Every morning is a treaty or a battle to begin. 7 seals inside the chest, I've broken maybe 4. The other 3 are guarding something I'm still fighting for. The first demon has my father's voice in perfect diction. Tells me everything I build is one mistake from eviction. From the life I constructed, that the ground is always shifting, that the weight I carry daily is the cost of all what I'm gifting to the world. It takes in compound charges, interest on the given. Makes the act of generosity feel dangerous as living. I've named it, I've sat with it, I've traced it to its origin. The 6-year-old who learned that love required performing. A version of himself that kept the household temperature from spiking. Little diplomat, little miniature adult in a child's body, reading every room, learning how to make himself invisible or useful, choosing who to be based on the need of the nearest adult. The 6-year-old is still in here and still absorbing the result of every room I enter, still adjusting, still performing. I see you, little man, I see you. That's the start of the reforming. That's the start. That's the start of the reforming. That's the start of the reforming. The second demon is ambition, with the volume broken, turned up past the threshold, never satisfied, never spoken into completion. Always chasing the next thing before the current thing is honored, always hungry for the more. I've done things I'm proud of and moved past them like receipts, like evidence of nothing, like the work between the beats that nobody hears, just filler between the next great moment. And this is the pathology, the destination as the opponent of the present, the future as the thief of what is actual, the life that's happening right now, the practical, the factual, beauty of the ordinary. Tuesday with your daughter, the conversation with no agenda, the glass of water at 3 a.m. that tastes like everything you have. The demon steals the Tuesday for the theoretical jazz of a future that recedes like a horizon as you near it. I'm learning how to stand still, I'm learning how to hear it. That's the start of the that's the start of the that's the start of the reform. That's the start of the reform. That's the start of the reform. The third demon is the easiest to name and hardest to wrestle. It's the mirror, and the mirror has been lying since the vessel of this body was assembled. Told me I was less than, told me the acceptance of the room was more important than the lesson of self-knowledge. I've chased approval like a currency with a fluctuating rate at the mercy and urgency of whoever held the power in the room. Employer, lover, father, the audience, the critic, always running, getting farther from the fixed point of the self. The thing that doesn't need the room's permission to exist. The frequency, the seed of who I actually am beneath the performance and the seeking. And the 3 remaining seals are not yet open, but they're speaking in the language I'm beginning slowly to decode. A spiritual war isn't with the devil, it's the road back to yourself, back through everything that buried you. Cypher souls do the interior work, that's how we carry through. That's the start of the reform. That's the start of the reform. That's the battle of reform. That's the start of the reform. That's the start. That's the start of the reform. That's the battle of reform. The war nobody sees is the one I wake up in. Every morning is a treaty or a battle to begin. Mary Church Terrell, Mary Church Terrell.
Mary Church Terrell never trended, never got the biopic. The woman who fought lynching laws while raising children, that's the topic. They never cover in the chapter, never put her on the poster. She was organizing nationally before your great-grandmother showed her. Touched the world, founded the National Association of Colored Women, was removed from a restaurant at 90 and kept going. Listen, 90 years old, arthritis, and she's sitting in the Integrate, a cafeteria in Washington. That is the weight of a woman who decided that the comfort of surrender was a luxury she couldn't afford. She chose the splendor of the difficult, the dangerous, the daily confrontation with the system, and she won, and she got no constellation named for her. No federal holiday, no movie deal, just history that happened, just a woman who was real and changed the world so quietly the world forgot to credit her. Cypher souls say her name until the frequency is deader. They bury the receipts, but not the impact. The ones who changed the world and never got it back. Say their names like instruments, say them like a drum. The work was real, the silence is where we come from. New was Howard Latimer drew the blueprints for the telephone that made the carbon filament that kept the light bulb lit at home. Edison got famous, Latimer got footnote, Bell got the patent, Latimer got the remote. Corner of the credit, junior partner in the story of inventions that reshaped the world. Where is his glory? Garrett Morgan gave us traffic lights and gas masks, let that settle. The man who saved the lives of soldiers running through the metal of the battlefield, invented something used 100 million times per day, and most people can't name them, that's the crime. Not the legal kind, the cultural kind, the deliberate omission of the genius from the record. That's not accident, that's decision. Alice Ball cured leprosy at 23 and then she died, and her professor took the credit. Her name was pushed aside for 13 years until a colleague stood and named the theft. Cipher souls are the colleagues, that's the work that's left. Say their names. Say their names. Say their names. The pattern isn't random and the pattern isn't old. It's operating currently, the same story being told in different fonts. The genius in the room whose name gets moved to the acknowledgements while someone else gets fame. I've watched it happen in real time, in boardrooms and in ciphers, in studios and classrooms. The original ideas writers getting managed out the narrative before the launch. The diversity initiative that's really just a flaunt. Of faces without power, representation as a costume worn by institutions that control who gets the leg room to actually build. I'm not cynical, I'm calibrated. The heroes that I named today were also underrated in their moment, and they kept going. That's the testament, that's the inheritance. The excellence is permanent. Even when the record tries to lose it, it persists. Mary Church Terrell never trended, but she exists. Buried the receipts, but not the impact. Say they names like instruments. Say them like a drum.
On the notebook with the verses, called it abstract. Showed up 40 minutes late to my own therapy, called it impact. Couldn't find the words for what I needed, so I drew a map of nowhere in particular. The therapist said, good, unpack that. I said, it's just a squiggle. She said, squiggles have a grammar. I said, my grandmother made soup from bones and called it glamour. She wrote that down, I said, I'm serious. She called it her best recipe, and it was from the nothing she had brought it into something that sustained us through a whole New York November. I'm still living on that soup in ways I can't remember. The specifics of just warmth, just the particular sensation of being fed by someone who made beauty from privation. The jazz musician knows his builds a song around the silence, around the note they didn't play. That's not a lack, that's science.
Jazzy for the broken, that's the whole philosophy. The crack is where the music gets its personality. Don't fix the imperfection, learn its frequency. The most beautiful thing about you might be what you can't see. Jazzy for the broken, that's the whole philosophy. The crack is where the music gets its personality. Don't fix the imperfection, learn its frequency. The most beautiful thing about you might be what you can't see.
My man makes beats from broken samples. The skip is intentional. He says the glitch is where the ghost lives. That's the credential of a thing that's been alive, been handled, been imperfect. The pristine version is the copy. That's what you should suspect. Give me the record with the scratch. Give me the voice with the rasp. Give me the story with the gap. Give me the hand with the class that misses sometimes. The hug that lands a little sideways. The apology that's clumsy but is honest. Those are my days. The curated life is a museum I'm not visiting. The imperfect life is where the actual living isn't given, is more available, more human, more the point entirely. The jazz of it, the swing that runs slightly behind the beat and feels more true than anything on the grid. That's the cipher soul aesthetic. That's exactly what we did. played the wrong note once, kept going, made it right by what came after. That's the whole lesson in one night of listening. The commitment to the next note is the answer, not the apology, not the freeze. Keep moving, be the dancer who recovers in the step, who makes the stumble part of the choreography. Somebody in the audience so gracing what you thought was sloppiness. The perfectionists I know are the most stuck, the most suspended between the version that exists and the version that's intended, and they never quite meet, so nothing gets released or finished, and the beautiful and perfect thing is quietly diminished into a concept. Stays a concept, stays forever almost. I'd rather be the song that played a little rough and got close to the thing it meant to be. Got heard, got felt, got passed around in somebody's memory at 2 a.m. got found by someone who needed it, imperfect and exactly right. Jazzy for the broken, that's the frequency tonight.
Jazzy for the broken, that's the whole philosophy. The crack is where the music gets its personality. Don't fix the imperfection, tune it, learn its frequency. The first beautiful thing about you might be what you can't see. Jazzy for the broken, that's the whole philosophy. The crack is where the music gets its personality. Don't fix the imperfection, tune it, learn its frequency. The most beautiful thing about you might be what you can't see. She might be what you can't see.
Sharpeneth, iron, that's the proverb and the truth, The ones who made you better, were the ones who stayed uncool. Iron sharpeneth, iron, that's the proverb and the truth, Iron ones who made you better, were the ones who stayed uncool.
My brother from another told me something in the stairwell that I didn't want to receive, but needed something rare, well past comfortable. He said you're moving like you're scared of your own ceiling, like you'd rather stay in range of what you know than reach for what's possible and miss it. I wanted to dismiss it, I was furious, I kissed it off his jealousy. Ran the usual accounting of his flaws against his credibility, was mounting evidence against the message to protect myself from changing. That's the thing about the truth, when it's real you start rearranging everything except the thing it's pointing at. 3 months later, standing in the exact situation he described, the traitor was the comfort zone, the safe familiar ceiling, and I called her from the parking lot. No primo, just a feeling. You were right, he laughed, said I know now what you doing. That's the brother, that's the iron, that's the constant renewing. We've had the argument that nearly ended everything. 2 men who love each other saying the most damaging things with surgical precision, using all the access that the years of close proximity provided. That's the tax of real intimacy. You know exactly where the nerve lives, you know the origin of every wound the archive gives you weapons if you choose them, and we chose them, and we leveled each other briefly, and we both went home disheveled, and the silence lasted 3 weeks, which for us was an eternity. The text that broke it was a meme, no commentary, just a joke between us, only we would understand. The language underneath the language, the extended hand, disguised as humor. That's the dialect of men who love each other but weren't given other ways, and then we talk, actually talk, then the way that cost, that's iron, the friction and the heat, and then the edge that you keep trying.
Sharpeneth, iron, that's the proverb and the truth. Who made you better, were the ones who stayed on cool. Iron sharpeneth, iron, that's the proverb and the truth. Who made you better, were the ones who stayed on cool.
I think about the friendships that didn't make the distance, the ones that couldn't hold the weight, that needed more resistance to the easy dissolution when the inconvenience arrived. The ones who left when comfort left, I understand, I survived the same temptation to reduce the circle to the frictionless. The people who just validate the comfortable and limitless agreement, and that circle is a mirror, not a window. It shows you what you are but never what you're growing into. The iron friendships are expensive, they require the willingness to be seen completely, to absorb the realness of another person fully. Flaws and brilliance equal, and a state to keep returning. That's the cipher soul sequel to the origin story, past the honeymoon of knowing someone, past the version of themselves they brought to the beginning. Come to the actual person, that's the long game, that's the real thing. Iron sharpeneth iron, feel the edge, that's the healing.
Iron sharpeneth, iron, that's the proverb and the truth. The ones who made you better, were the ones who stayed on cool.
Before the deal, there's the demo that nobody listens to. The engineer who rushes you because your session isn't billable through the full rate. The cousin's basement studio at 3 a.m. The vocal booth that's literally your closet. The interim of a life that looks like nothing from the outside looking in. The parents asking when you're getting the real job. The discipline of believing in the version of yourself that doesn't exist yet. On paper only in the frequency. The mindset of the pre-dawn of the notebook full of verses. No one's heard of the cipher where you killed it, but the only record is the word of 7 people and a lamppost. That's the archive of your best work. So far, our best work yet to come, and that's the real work. Sustaining the belief past all the evidence against it. The rejection is the curriculum. Every closed door's a sentence in the education of the one who's actually going to make it. The ones who quit early, that's the shortcut that they take it. Before the deal, there's the years nobody documents. A room you built alone, the cobbled instrument. Before the deal, there's everything that made you who you are. Honor the before, that's where you found the I watched the dude I know perform to 30 people like it's Madison. He gave that 30 everything, no energy, was rationing himself against the size of room. No calculation of the ROI, on full commitment to the moment. That's the code, that's the why. The habit of excellence, regardless of the audience, becomes the muscle. So when the room is thousands obedient to the standard you've already set in empty rooms and ciphers, the performance is just practice. You're already a lifer. The overnight success is always 10 years of invisible. The deal is just a moment when the work becomes permissible. To acknowledge publicly the work was always happening long before the platform. That's the real accounting of a life in a creative. Every day without a check was a deposit in a bank that hasn't opened yet, and the interest compounds quietly. You won't see it coming. One morning it's just there because you never stop becoming. Before the deal, there's the years nobody documents. The room you built alone, the cobbled instrument. Before the deal, there's everything that made you who you are. Honor the before, that's where you found the bar. The come up isn't romantic when you're in it, it's just tiring. The same conversation with the same doubt requiring the same answer with declining evidence to back it. The faith is not a feeling, it's a practice. That's the bracket that contains the whole endeavor. The decision made at 4 a.m. when the beat is right, but nobody will hear it. And you begin again tomorrow anyway, because the alternative is a life that fits but doesn't, and you cannot live in comfort that tastes wrong. That's the cipher so conditioned, the gift and the affliction, the calling and the prison of your own ambition. I'm not glorifying struggle, I'm describing the specific texture of the hustle before it pays. The loneliness, the doubt, the beautiful conviction that the thing you're making matters. Beautiful, return to the work regardless. That's the discipline before the deal, that's the origin, that's where we begin. Before the deal, there's the years nobody documents. Honor the before, that's where you found the bar. Before the deal, before the deal, before the deal, there's the years nobody documents. Honor the before, that's where you found the bar. Before the deal, that's where you found the bar. Honor the before, honor the before, that's where you found the bar.
She carries cities in the architecture of her shoulders. The weight of everyone she loves gets heavier as she gets older. But she moves through it like water moves through, finding every passage, delivering the nourishment and carrying the damage back out with her. That's the double labor, that's the hidden tax, the emotional accounting that the world just takes and rarely tallies, rarely asks about the balance. The overnight shift, the children's homework, the financial talents required to make nothing stretch past where nothing ends. The prayer in the kitchen at 5 a.m. before the day begins, that nobody hears except the walls. I hear it in the architecture of every woman who raised something from the lecture of hard circumstances. Every mother, every daughter who became a mother's mother. Every woman who made water from the drought, who built the shelter from the argument of an unwilling world. She carries cities and she meant it. She carries cities, doesn't ask for monuments. The infrastructure of the love is all the documents. She carries cities in the quiet and the bone. The ones who hold the world together do it mostly alone. My grandma
grandmother's hands are the biography of a century of labor. Every knuckle is a chapter in the inventory of what she built and what was taken and what she rebuilt after. The kitchen was the parliament, decisions made to laughter and to tears around a table that she kept like an altar. The family was the congregation and she was never falter. She was the constant, that's the specific kind of heroism that history ignores because it doesn't fit the schism between the public and the private, between the monument and the Monday. And the Monday is the document of actual heroism, the unglamorous persistence of showing up for people at a difficult distance from your own needs. I've watched the women in my life do this with a grace that makes me understand what strength really is. Not the performance of the power, but the daily architecture of the love. She carries cities, that's the full picture. I wanna write this careful because the trap is sentimentality that doesn't actually see, that flatters without the reality of witnessing the full complexity, the anger and the exhaustion, the time she wanted to put everything down, the corrosion of the constant giving. She's not a symbol or a superhero, she's a person with a limit and a need that often hits zero, and still she shows up. That's not because she doesn't have the option to rest, she does, she chooses. That's the distinction I've been watching. The choice made daily from a place of love is not the same as obligation. That's the difference, that's her claim to something greater than the duty narrative assigns her. She's not just holding others up, she is the designer of a life that she has built with full intention. The cities that she carries started with her own invention of what family means, what love means, what home is. Cipher souls bear witness, she is the whole cosmos.
She carries cities, doesn't ask for monuments. The infrastructure of the love is all the documents. She carries cities in the quiet and the bone. The ones who hold the world together do it mostly alone.
Yo, enter the chamber where the syllables are weaponized. Every bar a pressure test, every punchline euthanize the competition. I move through the vocab like a surgeon through the body of a language, finding every urgent truth beneath the surface. The woo aesthetic is precision in the grimy coat. The paradox of the decision to be raw and surgical simultaneously. The rhyme scheme like a chessboard, moving painlessly through the complexity. Knight to bishop, rook to the corner of the argument. I make my point, I'm the coroner of the lazy bar. I document the cause of death as insufficient hunger, insufficient depth of the breath before the bar, insufficient time in the dark room with the word alone before you brought it to the war room of the cipher. I learned this from the Staten Island doctrine. The raw material of genius is the time you spent.
Whole season never ended, just went deeper underground. The chamber where we make it is the source of all the sound. Protect your neck and protect the words, same principle applies. The grimy and the brilliant, that's the cipher in the sky. Whole season never ended, just went deeper underground. The chamber where we make it is the source of all the sound. Protect your neck and protect the words, same principle applies. The grimy and the brilliant, that's the cipher in the sky.
My wordplay got the architecture of the labyrinth. Entrances inviting, middle hit you like a javelin of unexpected angles. Every corridor a reference to something in the culture that rewards a deference to study. You can't get the joke if you don't know the text, and knowing is the whole point. That's the cipher and the test of membership, not exclusion, but the invitation to go deeper, to develop the duration of your attention. The record that rewards the 10th listen with something new. That's not accident, that's precision engineering of the art. Every syllable load bearing, every image doing double work. The listener is sharing in the construction, completes the circuit. That's the theory of the chamber rap. The art requires the wary ear that catches things, the casual pass misses. That's the gift exchange, that's what the cipher is.
Whole season never ended, just went deeper underground. The chamber where we make it is the source of all the sound. Protect your neck and protect the words, and principle applies. The grimy and the brilliant, that's the cipher in the sound. Whole season never ended, just went deeper underground. The chamber where we make it is the source of all the sound. Protect your neck and protect the words, and principle applies. The grimy and the brilliant.
Yo, the grimy and the brilliant, or the same thing in the chamber. The street and the philosophy, not opposites but neighbors in the same building, same hallway,
same elevator. The kid who knows Sun Tzu and the one who's a translator of the block's informal economy. Same person in the woo cosmology. The knowledge only worsens the separation between people. It connects the 36 chambers as a syllabus. It expects the student to bring everything, the street and the celestial, the body and the spirit, the material, the eventual transcendence of the circumstance through mastery of the word. Every clay member is a chamber, every chamber is a world unto itself, and together they're a universal reference that rewards a lifetime of the careful and the reverent listening. Woo season never ended in the cipher, the grimy and the brilliant cipher souls go higher. Woo season never ended, just went deeper underground. Underground, 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 underground. Woo season never ended, just went deeper underground. Underground, 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 underground. Woo season never ended, just went deeper underground. Underground, 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 underground. Woo season never ended, just went deeper underground. Underground, 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 underground.
No equation for the space a person leaves. The mathematics of loss has no clean remedies. You just carry the variable, count for it each day, and build around the absence. That's the only way. He died on a Tuesday, which is somehow worse than the weekend. The week had barely started, there was still so much to finish. We had plans on Thursday, that's the specific absurdity of sudden loss. The calendar's still full of the currency of future time that now is nowhere to be spent. The phone call came at noon, I was in transit to cement. Of it said slowly like I understood the words in sequence, but the meaning took 3 days to fully breach the sequence of denial. The bargaining, the quiet devastation of walking into rooms and reaching for the phone. The patience required to not call him. That's the muscle memory of loving someone long. The body keeps the inventory of habit long past the person. I still say things to show them articles and music. Still write half the text before I'm throwing it away. And I don't know if that's the grief or the maintenance of a relationship to change address, not ended patience. Was the easy part, the ritual holds you. The ceremony has a shape, the communion folds you. In the structure of the morning there's a role to play, a place to put the grief, specific hours of the day designated for the feeling. And then it's over and the real work starts the Monday after the October of the first year. All the first without him in them, his birthday and the holidays and the particular rhythm of the friendship, the specific way he laughed at things, the conversation only he could have. What memory brings back is always partial, always slightly wrong in detail. The composite is approximate, that's the betrayal of time. It blurs the edges of the person, that's the terror of grief's long game. You fight to keep the image clear and time keeps softening the focus, so you write things down. Every memory a timestamp, every story is a crown. The patience, the patience, the fart of the jet, the fart of the jet, the fart of the jet, the patience, the patience, the patience, the fart of the jet, the fart of the jet, the fart of the jet. The mathematics of loss is irrational. It doesn't reduce, it doesn't simplify. The denominator doesn't produce a clean result. It just keeps going, and somewhere in the going you find you're still rowing. The boat's still present, still building, still laughing at things he would have found funny, still catching yourself mid-laugh and feeling them in a laugh itself. The dead don't disappear, they redistribute, they shelf themselves inside the people who love them, in the gesture that you borrowed from them, in the way you measure your response to hardship by the standard that they modeled. He's in every decision I made, carefully embodied in the pause before the hasty word, the steadiness. He showed me by example, that's not metaphor, it's readiness. He gave me still operating, loss is not subtraction. It's transformation, cipher souls, that's the final fraction. Fraction, fraction. There's no equation for the space a person leaves. The father will check. The father will check. You build around the absence, that's the only way. The patience, the patience. The father will check. The father check. The father check. Patience. Build around the abstract. That's the only way.
Yeah, yeah, yo, 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 yeah.
I'm a 10%. I'm a 10%. I'm a 10%. I'm a 10%.
Yeah. Yo, I dissect the metaphor before you finish building it. The syllabic kind you thought was complex, I'm fulfilling it while doing three things simultaneously. The internal scheme is tighter than the external. That's the double helix dream of the technical MC. The visible rhyme is the distraction. The architecture underneath is where I'm taking action. Multi-syllabic chains that run 6 bars before they land. The setup is the payoff I'm conducting with both hands. While you're still reading the sheet music I've already played. The concert in my head and moved on. That's the raid on the vocabulary. English as a crate to dig through every etymology, a sample, every prefix, a breakbeat. I can flip the Latin root of dominance. Is dominance the lord, the master of the prominence of every cipher he enters. I'm not boasting, I'm demonstrating the difference between rapping and the architecture of the saying.
Technical foul, you reach for something out your range. The craft is not a costume that you wear, it is the exchange between the mind and the moment. Either you can hold it or the bar exposes you. The cipher has eroded. Technical foul, you reach for something out your range. The craft is not a costume that you wear, it is the exchange between the mind and the moment. Either you can hold it or the bar exposes you. The cipher has eroded.
The punchline that you see coming is a failure of the setup. The one that blindsides you mid-breath before you can get up your guard. That's the science, misdirection is the medium. The MC as magician keeping you in the tedium of the expected while the unexpected loads behind it. The reveal is in the pocket by the time your ear is blinded. Up against the premise, the floor is gone. You're floating in the gap between the bar and the reality. I'm noting this effect with the precision of a man who studied hours in the dark room with the syllables. The cipher has its powers and those powers are proportional to preparation. Every bar I drop in public is the 1000th iteration of a process that began before you heard my name. In the bedroom, in the notebook, in the cipher. That's the claim to the technical, not talent. Talent is the ceiling, raised by work, and I've been working, that's the dealing. Technical foul. Technical foul. Technical foul.
I'm a dead in the same debate. I'm a dead in the same debate. I'm a dead.
But here's the thing about the technical, it has to serve the feeling. Or it's just gymnastics, impressive but not healing anything. Not moving anything, not worth the paper it's printed on. The cipher is the place where you make a case for being, not just being clever. The complexity should be in service of a truth. The perplexity should land somewhere, should mean something past the acrobatics. The dexterity is tools, and tools without a purpose is dramatics. The best technical MCs I know are also the most honest. When the bars are done performing, they get back to the modest work of saying something. Cannabis at its best is philosophy, and armor pun at its best is the body and biography of a real human being with gifts beyond imagining. Wearing the technical like clothes underneath the managing of syllables. There's a man, that's the cipher soul's tradition. Use the craft in service of the truth, that's the mission.
Technical foul, you reach for something out your range. The craft is not a costume that you wear, it is the exchange between the mind and the moment. Either you can hold it or the bar exposes you. The cipher has eroded. Technical foul. Technical foul. Technical foul.
Henrietta Lex never signed a consent form, let that sit. They took her cells in 1951. The cervical tissue, that's it. Just tissue to the doctor. To the world it was a miracle. The healer cell line, immortal. Every clinical trial that followed, every vaccine, every cancer treatment built on her biology, built on the deletion of her right to know. Her family found out decades later from a journalist, not a doctor, not a legislator, who thought to notify the woman's children that their mother was alive in every laboratory. That another human being's body had been building modern medicine without her name on anything, without the reckoning of compensation. While the institution profited, the family couldn't afford the health care. That's the honest fit of the history. The body that saved millions could not save its owner from the system's billions. She
She never signed, they never asked, they just took the body as resource, closed the medical book, and read the chapter that they left out of the story. Henrietta Lacks deserves the full and documented glory. This isn't ancient history, this is the Tuskegee study. This is the gynecology, experiments the bloody foundation of a science built on the unconsenting bodies of enslaved women. That's the reckoning we're renting space from. Every time we say the field advanced, we have to ask for whom, at whose expense, whose stance was overridden, whose autonomy was canceled. For the progress medical ethics as it's handled now exists precisely because of the violations that occurred without it. That's the legislation born from harm, the Belmont Report, informed consent built on the bodies of the people who weren't meant to matter. And they mattered, that's the paradox. The contribution was immeasurable, and the locks on the recognition and the credit and the healing were institutional. That's the structure, that's the ceiling.
That's the ceiling. That's the ceiling. That's the ceiling. That's the ceiling. That's the ceiling.
The reason this matters now is not just the historical, it's the current clinical. The categorical dismissal of black pain in medical settings documented. The pain scale study showing black patients' pain is dented by the provider's perception, undertreated, disbelieved. The maternal mortality rate, the data that is grieved. Every black woman who walked into a room and was not heard about her own body. That's the healer echo, that's the word we have to say again. She never signed, they never asked. The body as commodity is a present tense, not past. Henrietta Lacks' cells are in the lab right now, and her great-grandchildren are navigating somehow a system that still hasn't learned her name by heart. Haven't taught it in the medical school is the start of the ethics class. Not a footnote, not a case study. The whole foundation, say your name, that's our duty.
That's the ceiling. That's the ceiling. That's the ceiling.
She never signed, they never asked, they just took.
That's the ceiling.
Henrietta Lacks deserves the full and documented glory.
Open letter to the block. Open letter to the block. Open letter to the block. I see you. I was you. The options that you're weighing, I weighed them too. I'm not above you. I just got here earlier. What I know might make the road a little clearer. I see you on the corner with the look I recognize. The calculation running constant behind the eyes. Mapping every angle, every risk and every exit. The exhaustive mathematics of the young and the affected by a world that made you older faster than it should have. The cynicism is 17 and wisdom says you could have waited 20 years to earn. It's not a badge, it's a wound that got infected, got normalized, and now it looms over everything like weather. And I know you call it realism, but I've been realist enough to know the mechanism that converts the wound to worldview. I've done it, I've been there. The cool detachment is a scar wearing the suit. Beware the version of yourself that stops believing anything could change, because that version is the easiest and the most is strange. From the actual range of what's possible, I know it's hard to see from where you're standing. I barely saw it standing next to me. Yeah. The thing they don't tell you is the window doesn't close as fast as the urgency around you seems to propose. The pressure to decide right now, to lock it in or lose it, is a manufactured panic, and the ones who designed it benefit from your rush decision, from the panic buying of whatever's immediately available. I'm not lying, the patience is the power, the patience that says not yet, that surveys the full landscape before placing the bet of your life, your actual life on this option. I've watched brilliant people rush to mediocre because they thought the clock was running out. The clock is more time than they told you. The elders who said you're young were not dismissing, they were holding the door open. I'm holding it now, I'm not romantic about the block. I know its weight, I know the frantic pace of just surviving it. I just don't want the urgency to make choices for you. That's my open letters currency. I wanna say the thing thing I need is someone to say clearly, you are not the statistics. I mean, it's not just merely, but entirely. The data is about the system, not about your stealing. The correlation between zip code and outcome is the feeling of a structure, not a destiny. The structure can be navigated. The structure can be changed as been as being. I've located people who rewrote the expected from the exact same starting point that you're at now, and they weren't exceptional. That's the joint that matters. Ordinary people making extraordinary decisions with the resources they had, with the precision of someone who decided that the story wasn't over and kept fighting. I'm not asking you to be a soldier. It's someone else's inspiration narrative. I'm asking you to want things for yourself, to let the wanting move you through. The noise, the cipher is yours, the bar is yours, the day is yours. Open letter to the block, walk through your own doors. Open letter to the block. I see you. I was you. What I know might make the road a little clearer. Open letter to the block. I see you. I was you. What I know might make the road a little clearer.
The native tongue's ethos was the medicine I needed when the griminess was all I heard. The balance was completed by the looseness, by the joy, by the unapologetic celebration of the self is hold the Afrocentric aesthetic that said the culture is not only the survival and the fighting, it's the cookout and the cipher and the Saturdays inviting everyone to come and be a person for a moment before Monday takes the personhood back. That's the component that the griminess alone was missing. Not better, just different. The full range of the human, not just the belligerent necessity or hardness, but the warmth of being here. The tribe record that just makes you glad that you can hear anything at all. That the eardrum is a miracle, the physics and the flesh. That sound is both empirical and somehow also spiritual. That music is the only thing that moves through time and space and memory and everything. Tribe season all year, you already know. The jazz and the block and the love, let it flow. Native tongues never die, just went back to the crate. Pull it out on a Saturday, that's the whole estate. Q-tip rapping over jazz loops was the blueprint and the license to be smart and be from the street without the crisis of identity. You could love Coltrane and love the block. You could read and be a rapper. You could stop the clock on the either or. The native tongue said both and more. The full library of a life. The whole growth of a person isn't just the hardest part. It's also the Tuesday when the record makes you laugh. The also the human day. I knew this. Constructed whole albums from the comedy and the grief in equal columns. The sample could be anything. The jazz, the funk, the oddity, the obscure B-side, the sonic democracy of the crate as curriculum. Everything is available. Everything is material. The only variable is the ear and the intention. That's the tribe philosophy, man. I've been living in it since I heard it. That's my calling. Tribe season all year, you already know. The jazz and the block and the love, let it flow. Native tongues never die, just went back to the crate. Pull it out on a Saturday, that's the whole estate. The joy is not the opposite of the serious. That's the lesson in the gift. The mysterious thing about the native tongues is how the lightness contained the depth. How the celebration of the brightness of being alive also held await the midnight marauders. Sounds like summer, but it's talking about the borders of black life in America with the ease of someone who is fully integrated. The complexity, the outcome of that integration is not numbness. It's the capacity to hold it all at once. The joy and the tenacity of survival in the same breath, the same record, same bar, the cookout in the courthouse, the near and the far, history and the right now. The tribe is always teaching this. The full humanity is the whole point. That's the thesis. Cypher souls carry both the weight and the celebration. Tribe season all year, that's the whole foundation. Tribe season all year, you already know. Native tongues never died, just went back to the crate. Tribe season all year, you already know. Native tongues never died, just went back to the crate.
know. The sample cries because the original cried, because Nina sat at the piano in 1958 and inside of her was everything. The talent and the rage, the beauty and the burden of the black woman on stage in America. That year, that specific gravity. And she played it through the piano, that's the cavity in the chest that music fills. She filled it with the Bethlehem session, and when the producer chopped it 30 years later, the compression didn't reduce it. The 12-bit conversion kept the weeping. The SP1200 captures something, not just the sleeping frequency of notes, but the intention behind the notes. The grief that Nina coded into the melody, it floats across the decades, into the loop, into the bar, into this moment where I'm writing, where you're listening, where the component of a life becomes the context of this one. That's the miracle of sampling. It's not theft, it's the empirical extension of a feeling through the medium of time. When the sample cries, the whole bar feels it. The grief inside the loop, the years, the realness. Every record in the crate is someone's life compressed. When we flip it, we're not sampling. We're addressed by the ones who felt it first. That's the exchange when the sample cries. Nothing sounds the same. I think about the session musicians who played the parts that got sampled, who went home after the arts of the labor, living on in songs they'll never hear themselves, in the bass line and the record on somebody else's shelf. At 3 a.m. becoming the foundation of a verse about something entirely different in the universe of that recursion. The meaning that the original musician couldn't have intended, the unanticipated vision that the playing enabled. That's the generosity of art. It means past what you meant. The velocity of the feeling carries it beyond the original container into whoever needs it. The original and the later are both complete. The sample and the source are in conversation. That's the crate, that's the course of a culture that pays attention, that listens with reverence to what the old record knows that the new one references. Of the sample is a conversation worth the having. The industry made it legal, made it taxable, made the averaging of the royalty your business, and the business is legitimate. But underneath the clearance and the split, the intimate act of choosing of the producer in the dark who heard something in a record and felt the spark of recognition. This is it, this is exactly what the beat needs. This note, this cry, the gut decision of the crate digger is a form of love for the original. The sample says, above all the music that was ever made, this is specifically this moment, this musician. This is the key to the door I'm trying to open. And in the opening, both songs are present, both artists. The sloping arc of black music is one long conversation. Cypher souls are in it, every bar a continuation. When the sample cries, the whole bar feels it. The grief inside the loop, the years, the realness. When the sample cries, nothing sounds the same.
built the odds against me with a surveyor's precision. Mapped the distance between my address and the decision. Rooms I never enter. Calculated the discount on my potential before I could speak. Ran the full account of what the zip code and the pigment and the gender of my mother predicted. Ran the tender probability of my arrival at this moment. And here I am anyway, not as an opponent of the data, as the exception that should change the model. The sample size was me. The bottle contained a message that the statisticians missed. The variable they left out of the chart chart is this. The will is not a number, it's not a regression, it's not a control study or a standardized profession of the probable. The will is the unknown that breaks the equation. Still here, that's the statement, that's the declaration. Still here, that's the whole sermon. Still building, still learning. Still here, after everything designed to interrupt it. The frequency said stay, I kept it. I've been underestimated by people with better equipment, the resume, the network, the confident shipment of themselves into every room like the room was always theirs. I watched the confidence of capital climb the stairs 2 at a time while I took the elevator of the slow and earn. And I don't envy them, I know what I built required something that access made unnecessary. The creativity of constraint, the visionary solution that emerges only when the standard isn't available. I'm not romanticizing lack, I'm not palatial about the unfairness, but I'm saying that the making of something from the limited develops in the shaking of the foundation. The roots go deeper when the soil resists. I built in weather that they've never felt. The list of what I built in spite of is the architecture of a self. Still here, that's the full lecture. Still here, that's the whole sermon. Still building, still learning. Still here, after everything designed to interrupt it. The frequency said stay, I kept it. Yeah. There's a kind of permanence in showing up repeatedly that the dramatic gesture doesn't have. I read it in the ones who change things slowly. Not the singular moment, but the thousand ordinary spectacular returns to the work. The unnamed woman at the meeting every week for 30 years. The church that kept on feeding the neighborhood long past when the news cameras left. The permanence of presence is a different kind of depth than the monument. The monument gets weathered, gets forgotten. The daily showing up becomes the root and then the bottom of everything that grew above it. That's the still here, not the exceptional moment, but the feeling every real year. With the presence of yourself, your actual whole self, not the curated version pulled down from the shelf for public consumption. The full complicated living self, still here, cipher souls, the frequency itself. Still here, that's the whole sermon. Still building, still learning. Still here, after everything designed to interrupt it. The frequency says stay, I kept it.